Maybe nothing in your love life looks different yet. You are still single. No one new has arrived. And part of you is wondering whether all this healing, praying, and waiting has changed anything at all. But a new season does not always begin when someone enters your life. Sometimes it begins when what once kept pulling you backward no longer feels like home. The old door is losing its power. The patterns you once accepted are becoming uncomfortable. You still desire love, but you are no longer willing to abandon yourself to receive it. Your relationship status may look the same. Your season may not be. One of the first signs is that a door you kept trying to reopen is finally closing. For a long time, you believed one more conversation could change everything. You thought that if the two of you could sit down, speak honestly, and understand what went wrong, perhaps the relationship could still become what you had hoped. So, when he reached out, you answered. When he disappeared, you waited. When the relationship ended, you found reasons to believe the ending was temporary. Maybe there were apologies. Maybe there were late-night conversations when both of you admitted that the connection was still there. For a few hours, it felt as though the distance had disappeared. Then morning came, and the same problems were still waiting. Nothing had truly moved forward, but the door never seemed completely closed. There was enough affection to keep you hoping. Enough communication to keep you emotionally involved. Enough possibility to make grieving feel premature. Slightly open doors can be harder to release than closed ones. You keep returning because part of you believes the next conversation may finally lead somewhere different. But lately, the connection may not feel the same. The old conversation no longer comforts you as deeply. The uncertainty feels heavier. What once felt hopeful now leaves you exhausted. At first, you may interpret this as loss. You may ask, God, why are you allowing this to end when I have prayed for restoration? But not every ending means God has forgotten your prayer. Sometimes an ending is how the past finally stops consuming your future. Isaiah chapter 43 says, "Forget the former things. Do not dwell on the past. See, I am doing a new thing." The new thing may not begin with someone entering your life. It may begin with something old losing access to it. This does not mean every difficult relationship must end. It does not mean every closed door was directly closed by God. But there are times when you have prayed, communicated, forgiven, and tried to build something together, and the relationship still returns to the same place. You cannot enter a new season while spending all your strength negotiating with the old one. There comes a point when another conversation is no longer creating clarity. It is only delaying acceptance. Perhaps God is teaching you that an ending is not always a failure. You can be grateful for what was real without continuing to live inside what is over. And when that old door begins closing, God may start showing you why you held it open for so long. You realize that the relationship was not the only thing you were afraid to lose. You were afraid of being alone again. You were afraid that no one else would understand you in the same way. You were afraid that beginning again would place you even further behind. Maybe part of you believed that being chosen by this man would finally heal something older. It would prove that you were lovable. It would correct a rejection that happened before him. It would silence the fear that people always leave. So you were not only fighting for the relationship, you were fighting for what you believed the relationship would say about you. That is why releasing it felt so personal. It did not feel like losing one man. It felt like losing evidence that you were worthy of love. But God never intended one person to carry the responsibility of proving your value. Psalm chapter 147 says that God heals the brokenhearted and binds up their wounds. Healing often begins when He shows you what you were asking a relationship to repair. Perhaps you accepted inconsistency because attention felt better than abandonment. Maybe you accepted almost love because asking for more felt too risky. Maybe you kept explaining His behavior because admitting how deeply it hurt would force you to make a decision. That does not make you foolish. You were trying to protect a tender place with the understanding you had at the time, but now you are beginning to understand something different. Being desired is not the same as being loved well. Chemistry cannot compensate for the absence of character, and no relationship can give you a secure identity if you enter it believing you must earn the right to remain. Healing does not always arrive in one dramatic moment. Sometimes it happens when you notice an old thought and no longer believe it immediately. You pause before responding from fear. You pray honestly instead of pretending you are unaffected. You admit, I accepted less because I was afraid there would never be more. That admission is not a reason for shame. It is a place where God can begin something new. A new season does not require you to become emotionally perfect before love can find you. But God may be teaching you to recognize when an old wound is choosing for you. And as that healing continues, your standards begin changing. Things that once impressed you no longer feel sufficient. There may have been a time when attention was enough. He texted often. He complimented you. He knew how to make you feel special when you were lonely. Maybe he spoke about the future in a way that made the connection feel serious before anything serious had actually been built. You felt seen, and because you felt seen, you overlooked what you were not receiving: consistency, responsibility, clear intention, a faith that existed beyond words. Now you notice different things. You pay attention to whether a man's life agrees with what he says. You notice how he responds when he is wrong. You notice whether he communicates only when it is convenient, or whether he knows how to remain present when a conversation becomes uncomfortable. What once impressed you is no longer enough for you. You may meet someone who would have captivated you a few years ago and recognize the problem much earlier now. He is charming, but inconsistent. He speaks about God, but avoids accountability. He says he wants something serious, but every choice remains casual. Before, you might have focused on what he could become. Now, you notice who he is being. That is not bitterness. That is discernment. Proverbs chapter 4 says, "Above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it." Guarding your heart does not mean refusing to love. It means you no longer offer deep access before trust, character, and intention have had time to become visible. You are no longer asking only, "Does he like me?" You are also asking, "Can this man build something honest, peaceful, and consistent with me?" That question is evidence that something in you has changed. If you can feel God preparing your heart for something new, but you are still learning how to remain peaceful while you wait, I created The Still Point, a 30-day devotional for the woman who is waiting. Each day is designed to help you return to Scripture, grow closer to God, and remain grounded while He leads you out of old patterns and into a new season. You can find it in the pinned comment or through the first link in the description. And another sign may appear in a place you did not expect. You are beginning to feel peace where there used to be fear. This does not mean you no longer want a relationship. You may still desire marriage deeply. You may still feel lonely when you return home to an empty room. Weddings may still bring complicated emotions. A birthday may still make you wonder when your own life will change. Peace does not mean the desire has disappeared. It means the desire no longer decides whether your life is valuable. There may have been a time when every passing year felt like evidence that you were falling behind. You watched other women become engaged, get married, and begin families. You celebrated them sincerely, but later, in private, you wondered whether God had overlooked you. Fear made everything urgent. A man showing interest immediately felt like a possibility you could not afford to lose. A relationship ending felt like more than heartbreak. It felt like time being taken from you. But now, the urgency may be growing quieter. You are no longer pretending that time does not matter. You are simply learning that fear is not a trustworthy guide. You would rather wait than force. You would rather experience loneliness honestly than use the wrong relationship to escape it. You would rather let God lead slowly than run ahead because someone else's life appears to be moving faster. That is peace. Peace is not certainty about when love will come. It is confidence that God remains good when you do not know the schedule. You may notice it in small moments. A friend announces her engagement, and although something tender moves inside you, the news no longer destroys your entire day. Someone asks why you are still single, and you do not feel the same need to defend your life. A man becomes inconsistent, and instead of working harder to regain his attention, you step away. Not because you no longer care, because you care about your peace too. You are learning to enjoy your life without treating it as a waiting room. You make plans, you invest in friendships. You give attention to your home, your health, your faith, and the gifts God has placed inside you. You are still open to love, but your life is no longer refusing to begin until love arrives. Do not minimize that change because no one has placed a ring on your hand. The woman who finds peace before the relationship arrives will enter love differently from the woman who needs a relationship to rescue her from fear. And sometimes, after the old door closes, the wound begins healing, and fear grows quieter. Your life feels strangely empty. The familiar attention is gone. You are no longer entertaining connections that offer excitement without direction. Your standards have become clearer, which means fewer people receive immediate access to your heart. You may look around and think, nothing is happening, but something is happening. Your emotional energy is no longer being consumed by people who offer attention without commitment. You are no longer constantly recovering from the same disappointment. There is room in your life again, room to think clearly, room to pray without turning every prayer into a question about one man. Room to notice friendships, opportunities, and parts of your calling that were difficult to see when your attention was fixed on a relationship. New space often feels like emptiness before it feels like freedom. But empty and abandoned are not the same thing. A field can look empty after the old crop has been removed. That does not mean the ground has been forgotten. There are seasons when what is happening beneath the surface cannot be hurried by staring at it every day. This does not mean your husband is arriving next week. It does not mean every quiet season is a secret countdown to marriage. God's work in your life matters even before you know how the relationship part of your story will unfold. The boundaries becoming stronger will matter. The discernment becoming clearer will matter. The peace replacing desperation will matter. The healing that allows you to receive love without making it your identity will matter. Perhaps God is not merely preparing you to meet a different man. Perhaps He is preparing you to experience love differently. You will not enter it begging to be chosen. You will not ignore what hurts because you are afraid of being alone. You will not build an entire future around a few powerful moments. You will let time reveal character. You will bring the relationship before God without demanding that He approve what you have already decided. That is a new season. Maybe you have been looking around and thinking that nothing has changed. You are still single. You still do not know who you will meet. You still cannot see how the story will come together. But look again. The door that kept pulling you backward is closing. The wound that shaped your choices is healing. What once impressed you is no longer enough. Your heart is becoming quieter. You are learning that being alone for a season is not the same as being forgotten. Do not call that nothing. Your season has changed. The evidence is not only in who has arrived, it is also in what no longer controls you. You no longer need every person who shows interest to become your future. You no longer need to force meaning into every connection. And you no longer have to carry old patterns into the place God is leading you. There may still be difficult days. The old door may look comforting simply because you already know what is behind it. Familiar pain can feel safer than unfamiliar peace. But you do not have to return. You are not the same woman who entered that previous season. God has met you there. He has taught you, corrected you, comforted you, and carried you farther than you realize. You do not need to know every detail of what comes next. You only need enough faith to continue walking forward. If this message speaks to where you are today, write this in the comments. I am ready for the new season God is leading me into. Before you go, a new season can still feel unfamiliar. There may be days when old memories, loneliness, or fear tempt you to return to what God has been helping you leave behind. That is the quiet work the still point was created for. For 30 days, you will have scripture, reflection, prayer, and space to write as you learn to remain close to God without returning to old patterns. And when you are too tired to read, there is a complete audio version so you can close your eyes and listen. You can find it in the pinned comment or through the first link in the description. Let these next 30 days help you become steady in the season God is leading you into. Your relationship status may still look the same, beloved, but you are not the same woman. And that means your new season has already begun.